Hello, and welcome to a new series. The Rootrees are dead. What happened? The plane crashed last night near Pittsburgh. The only passengers were Carl Roottree, his wife Brenda, and their 3 daughters, known as the Roottree sisters. Carl Roottree was the president of the Roottree Candy Company. It's not clear who will succeed him. So far, local police are not sure what caused the crash. They are calling it one of the most deadly plane crashes in Pennsylvania's history. All passengers and crew perished. Pittsburgh is generally known for pleasant flying conditions, and the weather was not atypical for this time of year. We do not know much at this time, but our sources tell us that local authorities do not suspect terrorism. The crash did not cause any local property damage, and fortunately nobody outside the plane was hurt. Funeral plans have not been announced, but you can be sure that the Butler County Times will cover it to the best of our abilities. Welcome to a new series, The Rootrees Are Dead. I'm very excited to share with you this game. I have never played it, I have never watched anybody play it, nor have I read much about it. However, it was recommended to me on my Steam list. It's a puzzle in the vein of Obra Dinn, Curse of the Golden Idol. So of course I was intrigued, and as you can see, I'm in my finest detective apparel. I am going to go right into this and make sure that my volume is okay. I hope my bouncing is all right. I think I'm going to turn down just a smidge more because I'm looking at my audio, and I think the music might have been a little loud as I narrated the first passage on the December 6th, 1998 copy of the Butler County Times. I am really excited to get back into our puzzle game series. This one is one I'm really looking forward to, and I was kind of eager to jump right into it, which I think I will by starting our new game. Roottree Mania. The mystery will unlock once you finish The Rootrees Are Dead. Interesting. No idea what this is, but let's start the mystery here. It's cute. This is going to have like 90s motif. As far as I'm aware, like part of the whole gameplay is that it's a like 1980s. Exactly. December 6th, 1988. 98 rather.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known
as
the
FMV.
Private jet of
Let's
the
fucking
Roottree
go.
Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottree and his daughters, the Roottrie sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Rootrees are dead.
Ooh, what an intro! Yes?
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottree Company's lawyers are scrambling.
It's voice acted! I didn't know that! This is sick!
Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for.
I am not sure if I need a notebook for this game. I'm not certain if there are note-taking options within the UI. I'm going to hold off on getting my notebook quite yet, but I wanted to let you all know I got a really lovely Christmas present from my sister. It's a really cute little journal that I can put all of my puzzle notes in, and she got me a set of very nice pens of different colors, and so I'm going to have color-coordinated note-taking for my puzzle game, if the game requires it. If there's, like, in-game note-taking or whatever, kind of like how Obra Dinn had it, like Curse of the Golden Idol had it, then I don't need to do it, but I will do it for other games in the future. But like right now, I wonder if the game wants me to pay attention to a certain feature of this this statement.
I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were.
Ooh, we're a genealogy genie.
I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
I love tests. Put it on me. Complete the family tree of the Roottree sisters. Siblings are in birth order, oldest to youngest. Examine my evidence, search the internet for clues, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Sleuth. Aw, this is cute. This kind of reminds me a bit of Virtue's Last Reward in 999, where they've got the you know, find a way out. This is zoom out, I imagine. Zoom in. Okay, so we've got an evidence board, a family tree. This is our evidence, and then the internet, I imagine, is the computer. This is home. Let's just see what this is. Okay, we just go back into the room. Our journal. Oh, excellent. So we can add a page here and do our notes within this. I can't make it color coordinated, but this is good. We've... Oop, wait. We've been tapped to solve the mystery of the Roottree deaths. We are a genealogy genie. And have been approached by a mysterious woman who is offering us the job of a lifetime. Not sure what to make of it. Not sure what to make of any of this. The dame mentioned bloodlines and money. Never a good combo, in my experience. They say blood doesn't mix well with gold. Okay. Perfect. Welcome to your notepad. On each page, other than this one, you can jot down important information such as names, family relationships, marital status, sibling count, or anything else you'd like to remember. Tips. Page titles can be renamed to make it easier to remember what you've written on each one. Highlight any text in your web browser or evidence for quick option to add it to your notes. The entire contents of your notepad are saved even if you quit the game. Don't forget to check them when you return. Family reminders. Siblings, often referred to as brothers or sisters, people that share the same parents. Cousins, sometimes referred to as first cousins, people that share the same grandparents but not the same parents. Second cousins, sometimes referred to as distant cousins, people that share the same great-grandparents but are not the same grandparents. Third cousins could also sometimes be referred to as distant cousins, people that share the same great-great-grandparents but not the same great-grandparents. American school terms. K through 12 stands for kindergarten through 12th grade. This includes all schooling from ages 5 to 18. Schools produce yearbooks, which are albums of staged photos of the students, typically with solid colors or cloudy backgrounds. So how do we rename? Perfect. So we're going to name this December 9th, 1998. Okay. We want this to be shorthand then. 12/9/98. Just so that we know. Oh, and I will likely... we'll see how long I keep up this bit. All right, so let's look at the evidence. Got milk picture and the list of names. Cool, we've got photo items and text items. Let's look at the picture. The person who hired you gave this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottree Sisters Got Milk ad. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad copy reads, "You might recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a Roottree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." Can we flip it? So she has a ring on. She has a watch on. She looks the youngest. I bet she's the oldest and I bet she's middle. That's my guess. Just from like... My assumption is that she's probably married because that's her left hand and that's the ring finger. She just has younger looking eyes. And... there's a maturity to her face, you know. This is going to be just like Obra Dinn. I'm going to be making broad, sweeping generalizations based off of, you know, the evidence provided to me. And then gaining specificity in that examination later. I'm hydrating. Okay, let's look at the list of names. This list was provided to you by the mysterious person who showed up at the door. You need to fill in the family tree. Women, question mark, Eloise, Anderson, Gwyneth, Bean, Deborah. I'm not going to read all of these. Or maybe I should. Deborah Bean, Laura Carlson, Stephanie Cattrall, Patricia Christensen, Sarah Kosel, Danielle Franks, Louisa Garcia, Bonnie Hudson, Edith Jacobson, Patricia Jones, Bethany Kellogg, Stephanie Landon, Clara Lansing, Diamond LaRue, Jane LaRue, and Kim LaRue, Helen Lennon, Gwyneth Madsen, Nicole Madsen, Joan Monroe, Angelica Morden, Carolyn Morden, Gwendolyn Morden, April Quaritch, Jessica Rafferty LaRue, Katrina Lafferty LaRue, so this is similar family name, Candy Roottree, all right, a little on the nose, Carly Roottree, Gwendolyn Roottree, Gwyn Roottree, Christina Roottree, Lauren Roottree, Margolite Roottree, November Roottree, Rihanna Roottree, Riley Roottree, Samantha Roottree, Tessa Roottree, Nicole Smith, Penelope Tessa Green, Brenda White, Catherine Wilkins, Jem Wilson. Okay. Men, Sam Cattrall, Linus Cornwell, Walter Forsythe, Christopher Hudson, Guy Hudson, Brian Jones, David III Kellogg, David IV Kellogg, Mark Landon, Ernest Madsen, Ernest Jr. Madsen, James Morden, Zachariah Morden, Chris Rafferty, Clark Rafferty, Jacob Rafferty, Carl Roottree, Clancy Edward Roottree, Clancy Jr. Roottree, Edward Roottree, Elias Roottree, Elias Jr. Roottree, Elias C. Roottree, Elias M. Roottree, Jack Roottree, James Roottree, Miracle Roottree, Miracle Jr. Roottree, Miracle III Roottree, Robert Roottree, Ronald Roottree, Wolf Roottree, Thomas Sheridan, Jason Wilson, Stephen Wilson, and Zach Wilson. What a name list. All right, so that's our physical evidence. Now we're going to go to the internet. Let's open up our welcome text. Can we expand the windows? Now, welcome to the information superhighway. Thanks for purchasing a new Casio PC. Your PC is equipped with a 56K modem, which is fast enough to access any website on the World Wide Web, even those with high-resolution images. If you find anything interesting, be sure to print it out with your included high-end color laser printer, or burn a music CD to listen to later. For those of you who are younger than, a generation such as mine, back in the day, we used to print things out on physical paper, and we would also take these things called CDs. They are these circular plastic objects that you could write digital information onto by putting it into a thing called a CD drive. And the nomenclature is that you would burn that information onto the CD. So I just want to contextualize this for all of the Zoomers out there. If you want to revisit a search result, be sure to use Netscape Explorer's new history feature. Netscape was the old browser you would use. Happy surfing! And remember, Casio PCs are delicious. Casio PCs are inedible. Do not try and eat your computer. All right. We have no new notifications. We have no documents printing. We see that it is 7:03 p.m. on the 6th of December, 1998. Let's open the internet. Aw, how nostalgic. Spider search. Pro tip, you can create notes quickly by highlighting text with your mouse. We don't have any history. We can't go backwards or forwards. We're doing spider search. Let's do Roottree got milk. Okay. Let's do got milk. Got Milk is a series of advertisements for milk funded by dairy farms that feature celebrities with milk mustaches. The Roottree sisters didn't add that used a modified version of the photo you have in your inventory. The ad mentions they are models on a magazine cover and are associated with Roottree Candy Company. Let's do Roottree Candy Company. Mixed in with the recent news of the plane crash, there are a lot of results for Roottree's extremely popular candy products. Their official website is unstable due to the traffic it has been receiving. However, you find a direct link to the history section that manages to work momentarily. The Roottree Candy Company was founded by Elias Roottree after he married with his wife Gwyneth. So let's do that. Is there what is this feature? Hold on. Let's highlight this. Yeah. Oh, I want to add. I just bought a new cashew. Not sure what to make of it. First thing I did when I got it out got it out of the package was I gave it a little sniff. Didn't smell much like a nut, but I could tell right away this baby was gonna help me crack my next case. Alright. Now we're gonna do this and actually take notes. Let's call this RT, so Roottree Candy Company info. Okay. Family owned a small farm called Anderson Maple Farm. For some reasons that aren't explained on the page, it has no CEO and no stockholders. Instead, it is run by a president with input and votes from extended family. The site does mention that every president has been a direct descendant of Elias or Gwyneth, including Carl Roottree. Okay, so Carl Roottree is the man who died. Carl Roottree is the patron of the deceased family. What is it called? The patriarch. That's it. Also, if I spell shit wrong, my bad. I can't spell well. The product that put them on the map were 5 pieces, maple candies with 5 different flavors that are dipped in crispy, crackly candy coating. Since then, they have branched out to countless other products, all of which incorporate maple in some way. Their sister company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The sister's company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The primary models for Root are the Roottree sisters. Let's search Root. Root, the period is part of the name, is a clothing company. They make clothes for children from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website is down, likely due to increased web traffic, you find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes towards their target audience. One of them has to say, "You've spied the Roottree sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Rihanna." Alright, so we now know the 3 names. Oh. That's kind of annoying. Can I copy? Yeah, okay. So let's delete this. I was hoping I could... I guess it's so that I can quick link to it. The 3 sisters are named Riley, Rose, and Rihanna. You also come across a website from a collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently, Root has released 2 catalogs per year, every year, since 1984. And Rihanna appeared on almost all of them, okay? In order of ages, the firstborn is Rihanna. There's only one that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It seems that Brenda Roottree, the Roottree sisters' mother, okay? Brenda Roottree is the matriarch of the deceased family. It seems that Brenda Roottree, the Roottree sisters' mother and Root's head designer, appeared on one cover holding her daughter Rose in 1985. Okay. So, likely Rose, and then Riley. Lastly, Riley. That's my assumption. The site says this was the only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Roottree. Interesting. So Rose's legal birth name is Carly Roottree. I guess, I doubt this is gonna produce anything. Discover a trivia page that lists common trick questions. The answer to what are the first names of the famous Roottrees girls lists the answer as Raina, Carly, and Riley. The explanation below the answer states that Rose was originally born Carly Rose Roottree. Apparently, her parents had planned to name a son Carl Roottree Jr., but after finding out they were having a second daughter, so this does stand to reason, they called her Carly. Sometime in the early 90s, and now preteen Carly showed strongly expressed her dislike that her sisters had RH names, and she was the odd one out. That's when she began to go by her middle name. Okay. So, my current working assumption is that Raina is the one that's on the right, Rose is the one that's on the left, Riley is the one that's in the middle. Let's see about Riley Roottree. There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottree sisters' modeling career. You also come across an unofficial Roottree fan site seemingly curated by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest. Okay. The most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS, the woman with the ring on her finger. But Riley's the smart one. Rose is a middle child like me. You might think that they are rich just because they are models, but their dad is also the president of the candy company and their mom, Brenda, is a fashion designer. They do the modeling for her brand, Root. I eat Roottree candy all the time. My favorite are maple crisps, and they try to dress in plaid Root. Glows like Riley does in most of the posters. Okay, so Riley is wearing plaid in all likelihood. Someday I want my ears pierced like Rose. Okay, so Rose has her ears pierced. Riley is in plaid. The website's author continued to talk about her own life and what she likes about Root fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. So let's go to our evidence board. You don't have any portraits available to add to the family tree. Click on the faces. I see. So she is wearing plaid. She has a ring. Her ears are pierced. So my original assumption was accurate. We're going to do order from oldest to youngest. So this is, let me look at my notes. Raina. This is Rose, Carly, and then this is Riley. We don't know who she's married to yet, but we can search. So let's do Raina. There are a lot of obituaries that focus on those. Married to TMS. Okay. Let's look at our names. So S would be Thomas Sheridan is the only M or TS name. Let's look up Thomas Sheridan. TMS is a common abbreviation of an early 1990s teen heartthrob, Tommy Mark Sheridan. His first credited role as Thomas Sheridan was on a soap opera called Time Marches Onward. He skyrocketed to popularity after his starring role on the sitcom Brother Trouble. Since the end of Brother Trouble, he's often been on the cover of tabloids for his supposed drug use. Most recently, his relationship with Raina Roottree. After a short engagement, they married in 1997 when she was only 19 and he was 23. Gross. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. There are people who can get married young. But I have some red flags. All right, so she's married to Thomas Sheridan. We need to figure out their occupations now. So, I guess model? Thank you. This reminds me of Obra Dinn's music. These three entries are correct and have been locked. You've also locked the following optional entry, Thomas Sheridan. Booyah! All right, well, I'm already in love with the game. This is so much fucking fun.
Sorry to test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired.
It's just that easy.
The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even. But here's the catch. The Roottrees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Oh, that's why they're called the Roottrees, right? It's like a family tree. This is kind of a little pun.
The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives.
Okay.
Anyone related only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries.
All right, so they're framing it like the main game is discovering blood relatives, but the extra information will be derived through non-related, like through marriages and shit.
Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable Roottrees.
Okay.
Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives.
Interesting. So she has access to Carl Roottree's office. Very well. All right. Oh, yes.
Sorry, one last thing. This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Roottrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here. Thank you, and good luck.
Fascinating. Very well, madam. Have a good night. Dude, this is great. I'm so into this. Oh, I think we're in for a really good time. Sleuth. Very well. So we have to discover 6 more blood relatives. And I think we determined who this guy is, right? So if we look, Elias Roottree after he married his wife Gwyneth. So this is Elias. So we can go ahead and say that this is Elias Roottree, and then this is Gwyneth. Gwyneth Roottree. Gwendolyn? Gwyneth Madsen. We don't know what her last name is before she was married. I'm guessing that he was the president. The very first one. And we just need a picture of him. Top secret. I want to see what this says. You can open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. It has 2 names that must be typed in manually. The clues are obscure, have been intentionally hidden in the past, and may even require some leaps in logic. Try to keep an eye out for any inconsistencies. All right, pretty cool. So I think the smart play is to not overwhelm ourselves by looking at all of these individually, but instead work from where we understand and go upward. Or start thinking about the origin and where we can go from there. So let's also read all of the little notes to understand how this works. So there is a notation that indicates divorce. So this person divorced several times before marrying and then having 2 children. This person remarried and then also had no children, just got married. Don't forget, family trees use surnames from birth, even if the person changed their last name after marriage. Always use a person's most recent occupation. Genealogy for dunces, page 63. Given that, we should put this as unknown, because it very well could be that Elias's most recent occupation was not president. We know that it was founded now in 1908. That's an important thing to note because we will only be looking from years 1908 until 1998. So we've got 90 years to cover. What else? I'm curious what this denotes. Split up, but then there is like a isolation here. I'm guessing that I don't quite understand what that means. And there is nothing else that has this unique feature. Let me read this. 3 out of 9 before the person hired you returns. Every time you get 3 additional blood relatives in the family tree completely correct, name, occupation, and portrait, they will be locked in. All non-blood relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. Okay, we've got some new evidence where we have the 5 pieces ad, a story so far drawing, and a notable Roottrees list that are easy to find online. We have marketing items now, as well as story items. Okay. Very cool. I like this UI. What's our... Oh, no. Wait, does it tell me before I can use it? Don't know where to look next? If you're completely stuck, try talking it through with your rubber duck. Oh, that's so cute. You can rubber duck in this game. This is like a common practice in programming where when you're trying to work through like a programming problem, you speak to your rubber duck that you have on your desk. That's very cute. You have unseen evidence. You should definitely look through that first. So I'm not going to use the rubber duck. I'm a ardent believer in not using hints in these kind of games. Because I think with enough time and reflection, I can solve pretty much anything. So let's see. We've also got a tape. I knew a guy, Kevin. Oh, wait, no, I've heard this guy. He's like a Creative Commons producer. So many people use this. This is cute. This is a great way to give credits to the music that you use. And it's also nice because all of the music is royalty free and I won't get DMCA striked. We didn't really look through all of this, so let's just look through it now. Oh yeah, I originally saw this. So evidence intuition displays a number on evidence that indicates if there are any more leads to track down. I've disabled this because I really like the idea that this will increase the difficulty of the game. Some of the criticisms that I've had in the past with games like Chance of Senar or Obra Dinn, not Obra Dinn, Case of the Golden Idol, is it's really easy to game the system, or it kind of trivializes it when the game kind of gives you a little bit of hand-holding. Maybe I will at some point be like, fuck, I can't figure anything out, I gotta turn this on, but for now, we're leaving it off. Search all for periodicals. I'm not going to do that. It makes puzzles significantly easier. I'm already like, meh. Graphics, we don't really need to worry about. Audio should be fine. I do like the keyboard sounds. We're definitely going to keep subtitles on. And in terms of accessibility, I think the font size looks good. And I guess light strobing, if this becomes a problem, I'll turn it off. All right, let's look through our room before we get bogged down into evidence. Apparently, we like Riot Girl. Very cute. We have the notorious Montjoys. Interesting. Eunice Montjoy, Pip Gittins, Valerie Montjoy, Dermont Montjoy. And then Mia Fothergill, or Fothergill, Nigel Bunyan, Anne Bunyan, Rodney Bunyan, who married Dermont, and they had 4 children: Pip Montjoy, Royston Montjoy, Niles Montjoy, and Bubbles Montjoy. Our mystery comics, Tales of Suspense, number 32, only 15 cents. It's 7:24 p.m. We can turn up the volume of the music. Let's keep it at a modest 3. We have some books. We have Alphabet Davis Secrets Searcher. Can't click on them. Alphabet Davis Reversus. Family Doku. Alphabet Davis's Ends and Beginnings. Alphabet Davis in The Race Names of the Genesis. So this is like our mystery novel collection. Got a little bear with a plushie. We've got a desk, a door that is open that I can't seem to go into, a clock, a light that's plugged in, our jacket, 3 portraits on the wall, a phone that we can't call, an answering machine without any messages, some cute little boots, and a plaid umbrella. Nothing in our desk. We can go back to our desktop, and let's look here. I see, it's our evidence. I should have gathered that. All right, I feel like that's everything inside of the room that we can look at, so let's look through our evidence. We're going to go with the notable names to start. This is a list of notable root trees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it could be found easily via your search engine. Carl Roottree, the patriarch of the Roottree family, Elias and Gwyneth Roottree, Gwyn Roottree, Red Roottree, Jim Roottree, Lauren Roottree, and Miracle Jr. Any entry on the family tree that belongs to someone on the list will be marked with a star. Notable Roottrees will be crossed out after they are verified and locked. All right, cool. So we can look at our tree that's currently on our cork board to determine who these notable Roottrees are. We also have the story so far. The Roottree sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6th, 1998. Oh, we're wasting no time. It is the next day. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at your door and said the lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you access to some resources. This included a list of notable Roottrees who they said would be the easiest family members to place. They said they would return in the time it took to fill out 6 more blood relatives. Very cool. And now we have an advertisement. Let's look at it before we read the print. Roottree 5 pieces. So strawberry, power plum, cool chocolate, bad blue raspberry, awesome apple. This is the maple that they want to incorporate in all of their treats. There are 5 flavors because the original inventor had 5 kids. Maybe that's why kids still love them. Radical new flavors because it's no longer the 1920s. What even is an elderberry anyway? Interesting. Named after the 5 original children, perhaps? I suppose we'll learn more. This is an advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. It mentions that 5 pieces were named as such because the original creator had 5 children. The ad also mentions that the current 5 flavors are not the same as back then. Cool. My guess is that bad blue raspberry was changed from elderberry. Okay. Let us look at the notable root trees just from the stars. I'm guessing that it's going to stay within the core. Let's put that up. I think the smart play is to start at the top because one of our notable root trees is Gwyn Roottree. I want to know what her... Gwyneth Roottree. I want to know what her maiden name is. So, Gwyneth Roottree. You find some information on the website, The First Anderson Maple Farm. There are a few pictures, including a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. That photo was added to our evidence. Let's look at that right away. Excellent. This is a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth Roottree. It was taken in 1909 after they founded the Roottree Candy Company, but before it was a success. From what you found searching the internet, it seems quite difficult to find any site about Elias or Gwyneth that isn't accompanied by this picture. Elias and Gwyneth are on the notable Roottrees listed in your evidence. They will be marked on the chart with a star. Let's actually go to that now. Just set their pictures up as it is. We don't know her name quite yet. So let's go back. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers, so as the eldest sister, she was to inherit the Anderson Maple Farm so long as she married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy instead. Their success was not immediate until they decided to combine the maple with other flavors. This led to 5 pieces, which are still found in stores to this day. Though the Roottree Candy Company expanded well beyond their original farm, it has been preserved as a tourist attraction. According to their website, there are still daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century appliances that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the 1900s. All right, so she was a housewife. I feel like we can just suggest that it's president for now. So we need to do one more before we lock this in. I wonder if I should do the same thing that I did before with Obra Dinn, where when I have very clear information that does not require additional confirmation through the game medium, I should not necessarily fill them in. And instead, search for more esoteric information and then utilize these as emergency confirmation systems. So instead of writing in their names for now, we're going to kind of be a little meta. Monologue 1. Did I spell that right? Monologue. No, I forgot the U. I thought I might have forgot the U. Monologue 2. Seems like the dame at the door was satisfied with my searching. Not surprised. I'm an old hand at the cashew. My father may have been a Luddite, but not this cat. This cat. I'm a turn of the century kind of guy, and I won't be left in the dark. What is in the dark for now, though, is this family tree I keep staring at on my corkboard. Been a long time since this genie was out of his bottle. But the wish I intend to grant is to solve this puzzling portrayal. Gonna start at the top. Just like my mentor taught me. She used to say, the best place to see the horizon is from the top of the trees. Well, I'm out here on the canopy, and all I can see is the forest. All right. Okay, so let's do 1908. Or let's do like Roottree origins. We'll just do origins? Family origins? I wish I could make these longer. Like, I don't care if they stick out. We'll just do origins. Gwyneth Anderson is a housewife. Elias Roottree is likely the first president of the Roottree, the RCC. Okay. Let us then look at this. So we're not going to fill these in because the next person that I determine will lock in those three people, and I don't need to, like, I know that this is probably true. I don't need to confirm these and I can use these to suss out more like difficult to learn information, pretty much. I'm using this almost in a meta sense. It's just like I used to do in Obra Dinn. All right, so let's go back to the webpage because we only got to here, basically. Before Elias took over the farm, produced only syrup. Oh no, I did read all of this. I'm silly. Let's instead pivot. Let's do maybe Anderson Maple Farm. Oop. Anderson Maple Farm. You find some information on a website for the first Anderson Maple Farm. There are a few pictures, including a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers. So is the eldest sister. All right, so it's the same result. What about the first? Okay. Let's instead search Elias Roottree. Elias Roottree was the founder and first president of the Roottree Candy Company. You find what is essentially a propaganda site about him created by the Roottree Candy Company. At the top, there is a picture of him and his wife. There's also a biography section that has some additional information. Elias is credited for inventing 5 pieces of popular maple candy. Before that, the farm he inherited by marrying his wife only produced syrup. After 5 pieces became wildly successful, Elias spent his time and energy on cementing his reputation as a family man. He's quoted on the site as saying, "Blood is thicker than syrup, and that any child linked by blood to me shall be linked by blood to my legacy." I feel like that's actually an important thing to note. There are a few more quotes about Elias from a book called Family Man, the Roottree Legacy by Bess Williams. The site enthusiastically claims that he made good on that promise, but offers no additional detail. To say they are biased is a massive understatement. We should search her. Search periodicals. I don't know what that means quite yet. Wait. Okay, so let's copy her name because we're going to search her next. Below that, there's a long list of accomplishments and awards, and one stands out. Like his great-grandson, Carl, Elias was voted Watchman of the Year. Okay, so Carl Roottree also is his great-grandson. Oops. Let's change this to... I don't need this anymore. I don't need this anymore. Main fam. We can take that... What? No. Can I copy in this game? Yeah, we'll put my monologues at the bottom. Oh, okay. I see. So we can just get rid of that. I don't really need any of this anymore either, because we've already confirmed this. So let's just delete these. Carl Roottree is the patriarch, and Brenda Roottree is the matriarch, but we don't know Brenda's middle name. Bess Williams. That's who I want to search now. So, Bess Williams. Bess Williams is an author born in the late 1800s. She lived just outside of Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Information about her book, or Family Man, seems to have faded over time due to the lack of interest. Can we find anything? Family Man, The Roottree Legacy by Beth Williams is a very poorly received book about Elias Roottree. It is impossible to find a copy of the book these days. Interesting. Okay, so Carl Roottree. Let me actually go back. What was his name? Like his great-grandson. So this would be his son. This would be his grandson. This would be his great-grandson. So this is indeed Carl, in all likelihood. So it goes from here to here to here. So son, grandson, great-grandson. And Carl was voted Watchman of the Year. What is Watchman of the Year? Business Magazine. Okay, Business Watch is part of our periodicals now. Business Watch Magazine is a magazine founded or focused on companies, CEOs, and the economy. They've been around for 100 years in one form or another and will often write about major changes in management at famous companies. Every year, they offer an award to prominent businessmen who's furthered the field. They call this Watchman of the Year. You find through a few searches that two Rootrees have been featured as Watchman of the Year, Elias and Carl. Business Watch does not host any online archives on any site you can find via search or spider search, that you may find individual articles and issues through your periodical search. All right, before we do that, let's do Carl Roottree. Carl Roottree died in the recent plane crash along with his wife Brenda Roottree and their daughters. He was the president of the Roottree Candy Company and Root, which he co-founded with his wife. There's a short press release that the Roottree Candy Company released today to news organizations, December 6th, 1998. It's with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Carl, Brenda, and the Roottree sisters and the other employees that perished in the terrible tragedy. The entire Roottree family is in shock and requesting privacy at this time. As the head of our company, Carl was an incredible man and an unmatched leader. Filling his absence will be difficult and may take considerable time. In the interim, we hope that you join us in looking back fondly on Carl and his family's triumphs and accomplishments. They go on to list some of those accomplishments. One of them seems likely to your search, like his grandfather or great-grandfather, Watchman of the Year. So let's go to periodicals. Public library. Family Man. Oh, wait, no. Bess Williams. Family Man. Okay. Can't find it at all. Don't need Bess Williams. Business Watch. Watchman of the Year. Business Watch has awarded Watchman of the Year to many people throughout the years. Every 10 years, they publish the full list again. You search through the most recent list and only find names you recognize are Elias Roottree and Carl Roottree. So let's do Carl Roottree. Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987 for his work with Root. The cover and summary of the article has been added to your evidence. Now let's do Elias. Elias Roottree was awarded Watchman of the Year in 1936 for his accomplishment of rolling out 5 pieces to a global market. Notes from the article and a scan someone made of the cover have been added to your evidence. Okay. Let's actually go back to Spider Search and do 5 piece. What is it? Five pieces. My bad. From marketing materials and various candy... I want to have my notebook open. From marketing materials and various candy history sites, you learned that 5 pieces are an iconic candy sold by the Roottree Candy Company. Although they are no longer the company's only popular product, they still sell well to this day. 5 pieces are small, colorful, shell-coated maple candies that, since the late 20s, have been pressed into the shape of a maple leaf, although they usually have only one... or they have one flavor that looks like a berry. As tastes have changed over the years, so have the 5 flavors, but the shape and combination of maple... with maple have remained consistent. There's also a history of print advertising website that claims to have 5 pieces advertisement scanned from a book called The Sweet History of Candy, Volume 2 by Charles Lee. Unfortunately, when you click through the website, it seems all the image links are broken. Shoot, what was his name? Charles Lee. Probably don't need quotes. Published in 1985, hardcover history advertising nonfiction. This is part of a book series about all things candy in the modern world. It starts in 1925 and continues onward to chronicle the rise of mass production and global distribution. The book ends with a look into the future of candy as envisioned by experts in 1985. With the addition of hindsight, you can clearly see they got pretty much everything wrong. It includes some print advertisements. You find a newspaper ad for 5 pieces from the 1930s added in evidence. Okay? So this is Carl Roottree. Carl grabs life by the roots. Also, our ongoing coverage of who's in the corporate world. His family portrait is back here. I want to click it. Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987, and a photo of him appears on the cover. According to the cover, Business Watch is the magazine for and about corporate leaders, and has ongoing coverage of who's who in the corporate world. Carl was chosen not for his work at Roottree Candy, but rather a clothing company, Root. There's a brief history. Before they married, Carl's wife Brenda was a fashion consultant. When Raina was born, Brenda retired to become a stay-at-home mother. We don't need to worry about her occupation. Looking for a creative outlet, she spent any free time she had at the sewing machine. Raina's new clothes were a hit with other parents, including Carl's cousin, Jim Roottree. Okay, so Carl has a cousin. Carl has a cousin named Jim. a notable singer who had a young daughter the same age as Raina, who had and a niece. Wait, no, because they're not. Who had a daughter around the same time as Raina. Word spread. Okay, so Raina's new clothes were a hit with other parents, including Carl's cousin Jim, who was a notable singer. By 1982, Brenda's patterns were being copied by other brands, seeing the demand. Carl and his second cousin, Ernie Jr. He has a second cousin, Ernie Jr., president of Roottree. At the time. Spearheaded Root. So Ernie and Carl both created Root. Okay. Let's look up Jim then. Jim Roottree. Jim Roottree is a singer who sings in the duo Jim and Diamond. Okay. Let's add cousins. Jim Roottree is in a duo with his wife, Diamond LaRue. The duo, according to many sources you find, is considered a one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rollin' On Down to the City. The evidence is now in my folder. Although Jim writes the majority of songs and plays the guitar and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band never has had another hit, but its fans, who refer to themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers, I want to look that up. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic than the one song they were known for. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music through the 80s and early 90s. Other albums you find mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse and has not made a public appearance since 1996. Diamond Dazzlers is the name of the official fan club for Jim and Diamond. You find a forum post called Cool Things You Got in the Mail on a random forum about video games. One reply mentions that Jim and Diamond still send out a Christmas card every year to Diamond's Dazzlers. It is accompanied by some pictures as well as some history about the fan club. Apparently, even though it is no longer available to join, Jim and Diamond still honor it themselves personally. There's a fierce debate in the subsequent posts about whether that's cool or pathetic. Amongst the pictures of Christmas cards from over the years, only one is relevant. The card from 1996 includes pictures of Jim and Diamond's young son, Wolf. Diamond has a son named Wolf, as well as a note about his daughter's band, The Floozy. Jim has a... Well, is it Wolf or Jim's daughter? Because that comma doesn't necessarily help. So we're going to look up the Floozies now. The Floozies. The Floozies are an all-female punk band. Oh, wait. No, that's Riot Girl. Okay. All-female punk band operating out of New York City. They are mentioned in passing in an online review from earlier this year. Apparently, they were opening act for the band reviewer actually came to see. The reviewer writes that she normally doesn't review the opening act, but this one was unusual. Not because of the music, which she described as loud, fast, and repetitive, but not in a good way. The trio was extremely cagey about their identities. The reviewer asked the venue who they were, and she was told they were rumored to be the children of other famous musicians and did not want to be why they were popular. The reviewer also mentioned that for an underground and unknown band with absolutely no following, their equipment was all extremely expensive. Not only were they selling CDs, but they only cost $1. They were probably losing a fortune. The reviewer said that although she bought a copy, she would be unlikely to ever listen to any of it again except for maybe Beef Baby, the 7th track. There was no picture of the Floozies performing live, but the cover from the CD they were selling, Conquistador, has been added to your evidence. Let's look up this one. Same result. What about Beef Baby? Beef Baby is a song by the Floozies. You can't find anything else about it anywhere, but with a name like that, it's hard not to speculate on the subject matter, is it? Could it be a euphemism or about a newborn cow? Perhaps the floozies are holding a grudge against a toddler? It certainly piques your curiosity, if only you had time or resources to look into it further. Ah, okay. Well, let's look up Wolf LaRue. What was the name on the list? Wolf Roottree. Interesting. Let me look at this then. So, let's look at our notes. Jim Roottree is a duo with his wife Diamond LaRue. Jim is a cousin. So, this is him, which means either of these. My guess, because these are the only two with children. If I were to make an assumption about, like, a singer, it's more likely that he divorced multiple times. But it could be that he never did. But it also could be... It also indicates that I think because there is not additional lineages below, where was it? It's this one, right? About his daughter's band, the Floozies. So he has a son and a daughter, is what I'm guessing. Instead of that being Wolf's, Diamond is not a son named Wolf. They also have a daughter. Oh, no. It's Jim and Diamond. Okay. They have a son named Wolf and a daughter and a daughter. So Wolf Roottree is their son. And they have someone else related to them. So it could be either of these people. I'm gonna guess that actually this is Jim, because of the number of pictures available of his wife. Because there's no indication that Jim is like remarried so far. So in all likelihood, this is like Wolf. This is the unnamed daughter. This is Diamond. Let's go ahead and just put it in, right? There's no reason not to. So this would be Jim. Is it not Jim? Oh, probably James. And then... How did they describe it? Their young son and daughter being in the band The Floozies. So this is probably his daughter, then this is probably his son Wolf. Okay. This is, of course, Carl. He's the president of Roottree. We don't know her maiden name yet, so never mind. Unless there's only one Brenda. Yeah, so Brenda White. Oh, interesting. We can get another picture of Raina. Okay, so much like my other series, I think we're gonna keep these about an hour long. But what a great start! I'm like so into this. This is extremely fun. I am tickled, and I'm already like excited to play more. I don't necessarily think I'll play more today, but you can expect a bunch of episodes coming out in sequence over however long this game takes me. will absolutely be attempting to fill in every single piece of information because that's what makes these games fun. And I can't wait to play more. I really hope you enjoy this series. I had a lot of fun playing it. So I hope I see you in the next one. Goodbye.